When someone's in cardiac arrest, you're fighting the clock. It's that simple. Every single second that chest compressions stop, the odds of survival plummet. So today, we're going to break down the one-stop shock protocol, a truly game-changing technique made simple by the coached algorithm that is all about winning that race against time.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into why pauses in CPR are such a huge problem. Then, we'll introduce the one-stop shock solution and its awesome playbook, the coached algorithm. And finally, we'll see how running this protocol perfectly can maximize the chances of a successful outcome.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the core challenge here. In a cardiac arrest, you're not just trying to save a life. You are in a flat-out sprint against time, and believe me, every single second counts.
So let me ask you this, just to frame the problem perfectly. When you're in that room, what is the single biggest enemy standing between you and a successful outcome?
And the answer is simple, but it's absolutely critical. Every single pause in chest compressions. The moment your hands come off that chest, vital blood flow to the brain and heart just stops. Physiologically, that's the dragon we have to slay.
All right, so if pauses are the big bad guy here, then the solution has to be about one thing, and one thing only, cutting down that dangerous hands-off time to an absolute minimum.
And that's where the one-stop shock protocol comes in. This thing is designed specifically for manual defibrillators, and its whole philosophy is about overlapping actions. Instead of the old stop compressions, charge the defib routine, you charge it while compressions are still going. It sounds simple, but that one change is a total game changer. So when you boil it all down, the protocol is really engineered around these 4 key goals. Number 1, of course, is minimizing interruptions. You do that by charging during CPR. This, in turn, directly improves the chances of the defibrillation actually working, which gets us to our ultimate goal, restoring a viable heart rhythm.
Now, a protocol like this sounds great on paper, right? But in the middle of a high-stress resuscitation, you need a playbook that's simple, that's memorable, and that is where the coached algorithm comes into play.
And this is what I love about it. You see this simple mnemonic, coached. It takes what could be a really complex, chaotic procedure and turns it into a clear step-by-step checklist. It gives the whole team a structure to follow, even when the pressure is on. Okay, so let's really get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to break down each letter of coached to see exactly what needs to happen, who's responsible for what, and just as important, how the team talks to each other to pull this off without a hitch. So this gives you the 10,000-foot view of the whole sequence. You can see the flow, right? We start with compressions, move through all the safety checks and charging, and land at that final decision point. It's all designed for speed and safety. Now, let's dive into the details. And here it is, the full playbook. Look closely, because it's not just about the steps themselves, it's also about those specific verbal commands. That kind of closed-loop communication is absolutely vital for making sure the whole team is in sync and everyone stays safe. Okay, let's walk through the first bit. The team leader kicks it off, calling out C for compressions continue. That sets the tone. We do not stop CPR. Now, at the same time, and this is the key, we get O for oxygen away, A for all others away, and the second C for charge the defib. All of this happens in parallel while the compressor keeps going. It's beautiful efficiency in action. Okay, defib is charged. Now what? The leader yells H for hands off, the compressor immediately stops, backs away, and confirms out loud, I'm safe. This makes the pause incredibly short, just long enough for E, evaluate the rhythm. The leader takes a quick glance at the monitor to see if it's shockable, and that brings us to the final call.
Okay, let's talk about safety for a sec, because it's super important. You might see steps like removing oxygen and clearing the patient and think, whoa, that sounds risky. But the truth is, modern defibrillation is incredibly safe. We do these things purely out of an abundance of caution, just to make sure the environment is 100% controlled. The risk is tiny, but in a situation like this, the procedure demands perfection.
All right, this brings us to the final fork in the road, the D in coached, which stands for either defibrillate or disarm. And this lays out the 2 paths perfectly. On one side, if you've got a shockable rhythm, you hit that button, defibrillate, and then, critically, you get right back on the chest. No pulse check, just resume compressions immediately. On the other side, if it's a non-shockable rhythm, you don't shock. You disarm the machine, dump the charge safely, then you do a pulse check and continue CPR. 2 very clear paths, 0 confusion.
So let's zoom back out. What's the real impact of having a slick, efficient protocol like this? Why does all this matter so much?
You know, this quote from the source material just nails it. The goal is to minimize the hands-off time and improve the chances of restoring a viable heart rhythm and achieving a successful outcome. That one sentence is the entire why behind every single step we just walked through.
And this is the payoff. This is the science behind why it works so well. By making sure that heart muscle gets good, consistent blood flow from compressions right up until the very instant of the shock, you're essentially priming it. You're delivering that electricity to a heart that's in a much better state to actually use it and, hopefully, reboot into a normal rhythm. It makes a massive difference.
And that really leaves us with a bigger question, one that goes way beyond just this one protocol. How can something as simple as a checklist, when you combine it with crystal clear communication, totally transform how a team performs and ultimately save lives in any high-stakes emergency?